Thank you all for joining us today. This is our third episode.
Ian.
So we hope y'all have enjoyed so far tuning in. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of things. Yeah, we're going to jump on in. Today we're going to talk about validation, needing validation from others, and self-confidence, and how to build that inner confidence.
Exactly.
So I'm just going to go ahead and go right in. You know, I was looking at this program, and they were talking about how sometimes we look for validation in others. And the way we do that, it could be something about, you know, you can be somewhere and it'll have a consistency of somebody telling you, oh, you look great every day.
Yeah.
Well, that person can have an off day.
Yeah.
And it's not anything towards you, but it could be that they're just not themselves. So when you don't get that compliment that you get all the time, you start like, oh, I must not look good today. Or something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And that's not it. And that's where confidence starts within yourself.
It does. So when you think about validation, we think that we know that validation is a source of encouragement or an approval or an acknowledgement, right? So when you said about looking for validation from other people, we're talking about the external validation and needing that acceptance from other people to validate or to confirm
who you are.
Approval seeking behaviors that you think that people tend to look for.
Fishing for a compliment all the time. Always questioning others about themselves, looking for others to give them. And sometimes when I say that, I mean, like, it could be simple as advice about something. You know, sometimes you know what you need to do, you know what you want to do, but sometimes looking for that validation from others. And I feel like, you know, the approval of others, like say you want to do something, you feel like you have to seek approval or validation for something that you already know that you wanted to do. You know? And that, you know, goes to being yourself, you know, and really trying to figure out who you are. It always goes back to who you are. And another thing, stop self-criticizing yourself. You know, that comes in too.
And I think when you self-criticize yourself, that's where you go to the outside looking for that validation. And needing that constant reassurance of who you are, because you're not confident in who you are.
Not made to rely on others.
We're not.
People can't carry that load that you look for a validation, exception, or approval. You know, that's just too much for a human.
I mean, it can let us down. When you look for validation, you tend to start mimicking other people, you know, because you're looking for that acceptance.
You're mirroring them and not being yourself. Because you're going by their standards of you, but not your standards of yourself. So it has a lot to do, like I said, with inner confidence. And like when I go back to talking about self-criticizing yourself, you know, we're all our worst critics. And it's okay to look inside yourself and, you know, find what you like, what you don't like. But it gets dangerous to me when you look for exception of others, you know, and you let others critique you, and then you find yourself tearing yourself down.
And then also when you think about when it comes to relationships, because you're not being yourself. You're not your authentic self, when it comes to your relationships. So who are you? Who am I? You know, when I'm coming, like, and then I think that's where you get into a place sometimes where, in our last episode, we talked about just self-recognition, just examining, not only, you know, we talked about friendships, but also ourselves. So when you go into that place and you're kind of like, you know, it's like putting on a play or whatever. You're playing a part,
but you're playing a different character.
You're playing different characters. You kind of lose yourself with playing these different characters. And you're like, oh my god, like, oh my god,
you can't become that character. You don't know how to snap back.
You snap back,
but that happens when you're around others, and that's what we do talk. We did talk about this, you know, in our first episode about being your authentic self. Is, you know, sometimes when you don't have an identity, you do take on the identity of others because you are seeking validation from them and approval from them and how they think you should be. And but so how do you feel you should be? That's the most important part. Like, be yourself.
And we think about it. In this community that we're in, social media, right? Social media is the constant reassurance. You know, we're looking for the likes, we're looking for the comments, we're looking for the followers, for people, because that is again,
that's a validation seeking tool.
It is.
I mean, at the end of the day, let's be real about it. It is as validation, no matter how the likes you got, if you go viral. I mean, it's a validation.
It's a validation
tool. And then, you know, somebody else is doing something, they're getting it, and you're not. You're like, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with my life? You're questioning yourself.
So it's a constant comparison.
And it's a fear of disapproval.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like when you're your authentic self, you don't fear being disapproved because that's who you are, and you don't care about what others think. You know, I mean,
you don't.
Always be a leader and a follower, not a follower. Always be a leader, not a follower. I was taught that at an early age. I mean, I've carried it out through my life.
Yeah.
You know, whatever I felt in my heart, I always pray about it, and then I go for it. But I feel like when you start seeking others' approval, seeking the likes, seeking all this other stuff, you know, you lose track of who you are. And then another thing too, if it's something you like to do something that's a passion of yours, because a passion is going to automatically light up everything. Because if you're doing something and it's a passion, you're going to do it so well, others are going to be drawn to that light and to that passion you have.
Right, exactly. You know? That's the things that we can do to encourage ourselves, so that we can lean more on a self-validation more than seeking others' validation. So you just saying, look, passion, right?
Yeah.
Finding your passion, re-examining yourself and finding what it is. Prayer. Meditation. When we talk about relationships, because relationships, you know, comes in where validation.
Especially a significant other, like you look for their validation.
You look for their validation.
That's the person that you're trying to make happy.
Exactly.
And if there's something, you know, that you feel like they don't like, it can make you insecure.
It can. It can make you, which can lead
definitely in that specific area.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think that it can lead to just that this separation or whatever.
Exactly.
But one of the ways to fix it is having open communication.
Exactly.
Being open to express your feelings and your thoughts without the fear of rejection or of feeling like what your thoughts are doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that's where they, like, in any relationship, and I'm talking about friendship, because we talked about this previously, and in relationships with your significant other,
non-platonic.
It's the communication.
It's the communication. It is the confidence.
Yeah, because without the communication, it leads to assumption, and then assumption leads to just disagreement and you know,
other things,
among other things.
Well, and that's why I say you have to be your own self-assurance. Like that's where confidence comes in, you know, and knowing who you are. And that's why sometimes with relationships, you know, romantically or not romantically, they don't work out, because a lot of times people are still trying to find themselves. And they're leaning, say for friendships, like, you know, you don't know who you are. You're leaning to that person, trying to be like the person. Say in a relationship, you know, you see sometimes every different person you're with, you end up being like them. Like, you know, you kind of like mirror them, but it's like, who are you? You know, that's not healthy, because that's not who you are.
That's not who you are. That is not who you are.
So I definitely feel like having that confidence is very important.
And then taking the time to, like I said, addressing maybe if there's some unknowingly insecurities that you may have.
That's lingering insecurities.
Validation.
Like, nip that in the bud. Have that open communication with each other. You know?
Absolutely.
And it's check to see why you need to be validated by that person. That, to me, that's where it starts. Why am I needing to be validated? Right. You know, especially if you're in a relationship with somebody that you love and y'all love each other for who you are. It's like, why am I searching for this validation of this person?
And there's nothing wrong with having external validation. Like someone said,
constructive criticism.
Right, but being open with self-criticism. I feel like when you don't have enough acceptance of who you are, when someone does come back with feedback to you and they have that criticism, you know, you get offended easily. And that just comes from, again, insecurities and not having that validation with yourself. I think a lot of it starts with yourself, being comfortable with who you are and not worrying about what other people think.
Yeah. And that's what, at the end of the day, that's what it all goes back to.
Right.
You know, it's the external validation.
We need more people.
It's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know.
And we need more people that are different. We need more people that are going to set the bar
be
for
a leader.
Other people.
Yeah.
Be leaders. Stand out. And that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. And you know, and spend a lot of time with your craft and your art and your passion and see what works for you.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, we're always open to feedback. So we love to know, how are you, you know, not seeking validation from others. How are you looking inside yourself and that self-assurance and that confidence? You know, let us know. We love to know. Just give us some feedback on that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Frankie, again, it was nice talking to you, chatting with you. I think that this is something really good that we can take for ourselves.
And hopefully, you know, like I said, y'all felt it was good too as well. So, but hit us up. You know where to find us. We're on IG. You can email us. You can DM us.
Share
us, follow us. Because we are
to be real.